Nebraska head coach Scott Frost is currently looking for a new defensive line coach. That is because he just lost his to the NFL. Mike Dawson, who had been with Frost for the past 3 years, has been hired by the New York Giants to take on the role of linebackers coach. Dawson had spent the previous 3 seasons with Frost, from UCF for 2 seasons to last year with the Huskers in Lincoln. His departure to another job in the NFL had been rumored to be in the works for a while now, so this news was hardly surprising as the assistant coaching carousel between the NFL and college football continues to run rampant. Coach Dawson informed me late last week he had chosen to accept a coaching position with the New York Giants, Frost said in a released statement. Mike has been a key part of our staff the past 3 seasons at Nebraska and UCF. He is a man of great character, an outstanding teacher, relates well to players and is a tremendous asset for any coaching staff. While Nebraska and Frost have typically been lucky not to have to deal with coaching staff turnover the past couple of seasons, the loss of Dawson is the kind of circumstance most coaches have to deal with at some point in time. How Frost goes about filling the new vacancy on the coaching staff remains to be seen, although he will likely want to find a replacement to coach the defensive line with spring practices already creeping up on the program. And while Frost may not have had to deal with coaching turnover, a number of his players have. Nebraska will now employ its 4th defensive line coach in the past 5 seasons, including 2019, and 5th in since 2014. Frost would ideally like to find a defensive line coach that will stick around, although there is something to be said when you have coaches that are catching the eye of the NFL. Follow at Kevin FB. There have been myriad players who have placed their names into the NCAA transfer database over the past couple of months. Very rarely has any player actually pulled his name out of the infamous portal. Duke, as it turns out, is one of the rare beneficiaries of an about-face. In a press release Monday, Duke announced that wide receiver Aaron Young has removed his name from the NCAA transfer portal and will rejoin the Blue Devil program, effective immediately. It had been confirmed by the California native in late January that he would be seeking a graduate transfer to a school closer to the West Coast. Aaron has been an integral part of our program since arriving on campus in the summer of 2015, Duke head coach David Cutcliffe said in a statement. Duke is the best place for Aaron to continue his growth as a student athlete, and he's excited to get back to work with his teammates in preparation for spring practice. This past season, Young totaled 139 yards and a touchdown on 7 receptions, 4 of the receptions, 114 of the yards and the lone score came in the season-opening win over Army. Injuries, including a hamstring issue, limited Young for the remainder of the season. Young will enter the 2019 season with 34 receptions, 582 yards and 4 touchdowns during his time with the Blue Devils. If we still had days without an arrest ticker to reset, this one would, well, reset it. According to the Indianapolis Star, Notre Dame's Javon McKinley was arrested early Sunday morning by University police following an incident in which he was initially found unresponsive in the back of an Uber vehicle and was being escorted back to his dorm room by police officers. From the Star's report, McKinley, 6'2" and 215 pounds, reportedly required a series of sternum rubs to regain consciousness, and began walking to his dorm with the officer's assistance. He then stopped walking, at which point the officers reportedly said they could smell alcohol on his breath. According to the report, McKinley, unsteady on his feet, then tensed up and tried to leave in the opposite direction of his dorm. Officers were concerned about McKinley trying to wander off onto campus in his condition. In the officer's attempt to restrain McKinley on a cold night, he reportedly punched both officers in a rude, insolent or angry manner, causing pain. McKinley is facing 2 counts each of battery resulting in bodily injury to public safety official while engaged in official duties and 1 count of resisting law enforcement. The incident is being handled by the criminal justice system, a statement from a university spokesperson began. As for internal discipline, we do not publicly discuss specific cases and impose sanctions as warranted. Only two 2016 Fighting Irish signees, both offensive tackles, were rated higher than McKinley in that year's class. McKinley played in 6 games as a true freshman and 4 games in 2018, sandwiched between missing the entire 2017 season because of injury. In mid-January, it was reported that at least 11 Penn State football players had, since the end of the 2018 regular season, either decided to transfer or put their names in the NCAA transfer database, signaling a probable intent to move on. While one of those potential movers subsequently pulled his name out, another has since placed his name into the growing in infamy portal. According to 247sports.com, and also confirmed by ESPN's Cole Kublik over the weekend, Cam Sullivan Brown is now listed in the NCAA's transfer database. The wide receiver is now able to speak to other football programs without receiving permission from his current school, while also maintaining the ability to withdraw his name and return to Happy Valley. Per NCAA rules, the school is also permitted to pull Sullivan Brown's scholarship at the end of the semester in which he put his name into the transfer database. Sullivan Brown was a 3-star member of the Nittany Lions' 2017 recruiting class. After taking a red shirt as a true freshman, the Maryland product started one of the 13 games in which he played this past season. In limited action, he caught 4 passes for 49 yards. As for the other Happy Valley departures, from our Jan. 17 posting, 3 of those potential transfers, tight end Danny Dalton, offensive lineman Alex Gellerstedt and safety Aaron Monroe, were the most recent additions to the list of potential player personnel attrition at the football program. The other 8 with at least 1 foot out the door are deep breath linebackers Dalen Darien, here, and Brelon Faison Walden, wide receivers Jawan Johnson, here, and Brendan Polk, safeties Isaiah Humphries, here, and Lamont Wade, cornerback Zach McPherson, and offensive tackle Sterling Jenkins. The biggest of the losses would be Johnson, who started 7 games this past season and caught 25 passes for 352 yards and a touchdown, and Polk, who also started 7 games and totaled 162 yards and 2 touchdowns on 9 receptions. Monroe, played in 33 games during his time with the Nittany Lions and was viewed as a potential starting safety in 2019, while McPherson, 23 games played, 12 in 2018, and Wade, 24/12, saw significant action the past 2 seasons. The only other potential transfer who played in more than 10 games while in Happy Valley was Darien, whose 15 appearances included 8 this past season. Arizona State linebacker Reggie Hughes looks like he'll try playing to win some games elsewhere. With a brief statement onto social media Monday afternoon, Hughes announced his intent to transfer out of Arizona State. "I appreciate the opportunity, education and life lessons. I'm leaving the ASU football program, university and placing my name in the NCAA transfer portal," Hughes announced in a brief statement on Twitter. "Thanks to all my teammates, Coach Herm, Coach G, Coach AP and the football, university faculty and staff. I'll always remember my time as a Devil." Forks up. According to the 247 Sports Composite rankings, Hughes was a 3-star recruit in Arizona State's class of 2018, the first for Arizona State head coach Herm Edwards. The California native chose the Sun Devils over offers from a handful of programs. His commitment to Arizona State was somewhat of a surprise as UCLA appeared to be one of the trendy picks for his destination. Whether UCLA is in the fold now remains to be seen, although Chip Kelly and the Bruins did have an offer on the table for him in his recruiting cycle. Hughes redshirted the 2018 season, so he still has 4 years of eligibility to use. However, he will have to sit out the 2019 season if he transfers to another FBS program, which would make him eligible to play beginning in 2020 barring any potential waiver appeal being granted by the NCAA. By entering his name in the NCAA transfer portal, Hughes can now get in contact with other potential programs looking to add a linebacker to their program. Of course, Hughes is also allowed to pull his name from the transfer portal at any time to remain at Arizona State if he decides to stay put. However, based on the wording in his tweet announcing his transfer plans, it seems unlikely he will stick around in the Arizona State program. Follow @KevinOnkFB.